Welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of the Local Gov Stories podcast. I'm Melanie Santos Stefano, your host, along with my amazing co-host, Danny Langlass, the city manager for the City of Dixon. Danny, good to see you again.
Melanie, how are you?
Well, I'm well. We're just getting into the January of things, aren't we?
Any big New Year's resolution?
I just want to be really thoughtful and purposeful this year, as I do every year at the beginning of the year. So yeah, how about
Wow.
you?
Okay. I like that recenter, that refocus.
Yeah. Just trying to like be a little, like just be organized and project for the year, which we have, and I'm excited. How about you?
I don't really do resolutions, but my focus was to really disconnect for a few weeks there from my city manager role, business, just a family focus, enjoy
Yeah,
those Chicago Bears. And
totally.
now I'm just like reloading, rebooting, getting back in the flow of things, which is fun because it's busy and I need to.
I'm excited. January is a good month, even though it's so cold here in Chicagoland. It's a great month just to kind of have a minute to kind of look ahead, and you're like inside a lot, so you kind of have to have a little more time to think and plan. So, yes. And speaking of planning, we have two really awesome guests today. We're going to hear from Bill Wagner. He is the administrator for Arcola. And we're going to hear from our closing keynote. Danny got a chance to interview Courtney Clark, who, as you described,
Man.
you're lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle. I tell you what, I know sometimes people wake up in the morning and as local government leaders, we think we're really important and we got to get back. Our teams are fine. And you're going to want to stick around for her. She's going to talk about resilience. She really is lightning in a bottle. She talks about, her story, which is just so wow. Like she was, in the area, not there at the World Trade Center bombing, but like in the area and went through a lot, following that. It wasn't safe to be in that region as they had thought. But she has built this plan that you can follow. Her new book, The Shortcut, is coming out. Really makes you think differently about resilience because it isn't all about just powering through. But at any rate, she gives us some insight, and you're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah, she's definitely all about, and it's not just mindset, it's about like just kind of learning how you can pivot when challenges encountered as we all experience them. So she's very inspirational. But first, we're going to hear from Bill about his three-pronged plan for his 2026 in his community. And I found it to be very insightful and very community focused. So maybe we go to the interview with Bill.
Oh man, Bill was amazing, right? Like energizing, charge, collaboration. It's like straight from like the leadership, partnership, collaboration Bible. And what they're doing in Arcola is absolutely phenomenal. Check this out.
Well, today I have the honor of visiting with Bill Wagner. He is the city administrator for the city of Arcola, Illinois. Not sure if everyone around the state knows where Arcola is, but Bill's going to fill us in on all the great details. Bill, thank you for joining us today. Happy to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm a longtime listener, first time caller with this program, so I appreciate what you and Danny are trying to do here. So,
Thank you. We love it. We love meeting leaders across the state of Illinois. It's fascinating to do. So thank you so much for being willing to share what you're doing over there in Arcola. So first, I'd like for you to share with everybody your background there. I know you've been there for 20 years
yeah,
and maybe even pre getting there. Let's talk a little bit about how you got to Arcola working there.
yeah. So I was born and raised here in Arcola, fortunately. So I've been the first and only city administrator for going on 21 years now. I got an anniversary coming up in April. My story really goes back to the beginning, though. My dad was the water operator when I was born, so he worked here probably through the early '80s, and I remember going with him on the weekend route. So we'd run the plants, we checked the water plant, the sewer plant, lift stations, chlorine in the water, just all those basic functions that everybody relies on that has to carry on during the weekend when you're not usually working. So that was a fond memory for me.
Yeah, I'm sure you learned a lot as a young person, kind of getting a bird's eye view into all of that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So that kind of inspired you to look towards local government down the road. But you did other things before that, correct?
Right. Yeah, it was kind of a tangent that got me back into local government, but it all worked out. So
That's great. So 20 years now. And why don't you give everyone a little bit of a snapshot of Arcola for those that don't know this community?
absolutely. So we're right on I-57. We're just south of Champaign, Illinois. We are the broom corn capital of the world. We are the corporate home for the Libman Company. They make brooms, brushes, and mops. If you've been to a Menards, a Home Depot, Walmart, they've got huge, massive displays, and they make probably 100,000 brooms a day, plus all the brushes, mops, and scrubbies, and anything you can imagine that you might need at your house or your business, they make.
Got it. Okay. And then I know that there is, well, this is going to sound strange, but you're going to explain it. There's a palace in
We have a
Arcola.
palace in our downtown.
I
So
love it.
uh, several years ago, we had a building that just kind of started falling apart on us, and it kept falling apart and falling apart until the city bought it and tore it down. And we had a local resident that decided we needed a broom palace in our downtown. So it's a visitor center, a museum, and the Living Company does have a little outlet store in the first floor. And we run videos and give the history of why broom corn is important to Arcola. So it's been nice. They raised $1 million for it. It's run by a not-for-profit, so it's really unique for our downtown. It goes along with the quirkiness of our 100-year-old buildings, our brick streets. We just spent $1 million redoing all of our sidewalks and ADA ramps downtown, so it's really spruced up the place.
Yeah. And so speaking of the history, so how long, when was Arcola established?
Originally in 1855 with the Illinois Central Railroad. The town was founded under a different name, and then that was reincorporated as Arcola several years later. So
Got it. So that's an older town for sure. And yes, just like others that grew first, having a railroad going through. I live in Palatine and we're pretty old. We're 1865 and a railroad runs right through town. And that was just the way that people kind of grew out, right, from the cities they were in. Now neighboring towns. Now you're next to Tuscola, is that correct?
yes, they're our Friday night football sports rival, but we work really
Oh,
well with Tuscola. We share a water line coming from Champaign County, and then we also share our Douglas County Economic Development Corporation, which is mutually funded by us and the county and the city of Villa Grove. So we are cooperating much better than we used to. So
oh, that's wonderful. You know, those partnerships, if you can find that common ground, magic happens, really. So tell us a little bit, just like brief overview of demographic and kind of a snapshot of Arcola.
So we're kind of at the confluence of many things. We have a large Hispanic population because they work in the broom industry. So we're about 40 to 45% Hispanic. We're also on the edge of the Illinois' largest Amish settlement. So we have that right on the edge of our town as well.
Okay.
So we blend the cultures really well here, and we have unique opportunities that honestly, we have a great foodie scene because of the Amish food and the baked goods. Plus, we have authentic Mexican food in town. We have a bakery. We have Mexican ice cream. We have all those things that people travel for. And so
Yeah.
we're excited about that.
That's nice. It sounds very eclectic and lots of options and bringing in kind of the stronger, different demographics that are living in your town. And I know you mentioned you've just got all those little things like barbershops and bakeries and just like all those little things that people want in their towns. And sometimes they've disappeared due to the big boxes. So it sounds like you're maintaining that small town America feel.
We still have that charm on our main street, a lot of mom and pop businesses, and we're trying to grow more mom and pop businesses. I think that's the heart of your community.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really exciting the opportunities that we have coming up for that.
Yeah. And so let's switch gears now. I will say that the reason that Bill is on the show today is because I follow him on LinkedIn. And just after the first of the year, I too am someone who looks to the year ahead and kind of thinks, okay, what did we do last year? What do we need to do this year? And I saw Bill's three-pronged plan, which was not only hopeful and I want to do this, but he's got a plan and he's got a strategy. And I really, when I read that, I was like, that would be really wonderful to share with ILCMA membership because it's very pointed and organized. And I'm going to let you talk about it. So first, you talk about establishing and strengthening community partnerships. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. I mean, back in the day, we just fight over the same pie, and we figured out that we all have enough ingredients that we can put it together and make more pies if
I love that.
cooperate. So,
Yeah, yeah,
we work well with the city of Tuscola, Douglas County Economic Development, and like I said, Villa Grove, and we're really putting in the time and resources to grow that, and that's led to some new opportunities for all of us. We still have strength and ties with our local clubs, the Rotary, the Lions Club. We have a great relationship with our school district. We do a lot of projects with them. in conjunction. So there's a lot of forward thought in our community. We don't have a lot of people, so we need to work together to, maximize our talents and abilities together.
Absolutely. And that does exactly what you just said. It creates community and ownership and feeling like I'm a part of this too, as opposed to, living in silos and everybody kind of trying to get what they need to get. So I love that. Another thing that you're doing is ensuring that you are supporting your entrepreneurs and potential business owners or even current business owners. So talk a little bit about kind of the strength and the resources that you're putting towards your business community.
I'm glad you brought this up. This is the most exciting thing ever. So we started off a couple years ago with the school district and brought in a CEO program. So we teach entrepreneurship to the kids in the high school that want to participate in the program, and we do that through Douglas County as well. So
Yeah.
that's been great. Our next thought, and we copied this off Monticello, and Callie Joe McFarland there just does great things. But we're going to do a boot camp for our entrepreneurs, the adults that want to start a business. And so we're going to give them 6 weeks of intense training on, marketing, business plans. We partnered with the Small Business Development Center at
Yeah.
EIU. They're going to come in and help us teach a class, and we hope to get, maybe up to 10 people in our first group and see how that goes. They get a $5,000 scholarship at the end if their business plan meets all the requirements, and that we hope helps them set up a brick and mortar location in either Arcola or Tuscola. So that's been great. And then for our people that are, in it right now and having that battle, we have Douglas County Leader Up, which actually starts today, and giving them the soft skills and other skills that they may need and meet them where they're at. So, find out your own personality, find out how to talk to people, how to set up, your schedules and time planning and just all those little things that people and small business people need right now. So it's good to support them where they're at and offer these things at low to no cost.
That's amazing. I started my business, it's been 22 years. But I remember just starting on like gut instinct. I didn't go get any training. I just thought I could do it. And I really took the college of hard knocks, we'll say. So I love that you are offering this type of support to kind of create this feeling of like a cushion almost. Like, okay, like I've got my community behind me. They want me here.
Yeah.
It's just, and it all factors together, talking back to your partnerships and making sure that everyone's very connected. So I applaud you because especially it sounds like your town really like that's your group. Those are your groups. Those are your businesses, like these smaller businesses
Yeah.
serving the community.
We have a hardworking group here. That's part of the Amish and Hispanic cultures, both sides even, is to, roll up the sleeves and get involved and make it happen for yourself. So, it's not often the cities can jump in and do those kind of things. We're road, we're water, we're sewer, we're public safety, but
Yeah.
we sometimes miss the mark there on, community and economic development. And I think this year we're poised to really break out on that community and economic development aspect. We kind of tried to do that heading into COVID, and that just sidetracked and paused everything. It
Yeah.
was just kind of get through every day there, and we've reloaded
Survival.
on our staff and our community partnerships to do these things. So it's really exciting.
It is. And you know what? It goes back to just creating that stronger sense of, there's a place making, making your community to place to be, including everybody and just it's a beautiful partnership because frankly, sales tax dollars help fund, your municipal services. So it makes total sense. Plus, you're creating more of a feeling of belonging and places where people want to go in town. So we should definitely hear back from you. So how long is that program again? I know you mentioned it.
So the boot camp for the entrepreneurs is 6 weeks, and then I think we're doing 12 weeks on the Leader Up program. So they meet, and they'll have a little graduation ceremony for those folks in the spring. So we're hoping that springboards into a regular event for us. I think there's the need for the Leader Up, but the first ones through the door have to sell the program for us too. So
Sure.
we're invested in them, and they're hopefully invested in us.
Well, we'll have to hear back after you have some time to kind of, marinate and like make some real things happen. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely learned by doing at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I love that you're being a leader on this, though. I think that's something that other communities could look at and go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe we can find something similar to that. And last point that you had made was really about making sure that there's those connections we've discussed and also innovation. So talk a little bit about the innovation that you're looking for in your community in the year ahead.
I think we're trying to step up our marketing and social media presence as a community and try to promote our small businesses and our downtown. Um, it's hard for a lot of people to have marketing budgets, especially on startups, and just making a blanket post of "Hey, we're open today" is not going to cut it in today's society. It gets lost in the noise. So
Yeah.
we're deliberately marketing to small families that are traveling that need day trips. We missed the mark on bus trips. That's kind of gone away from
Yeah.
the travel. But people do travel with their kids. They do want free activities. We have a large public art scene downtown here in Arcola. We've got murals, we've got sculptures. It's not static. We're always kind of chasing that for, the next trendy thing, I guess. So,
Mm-hmm.
and if we can help them with marketing, spreading the word, and bring people to their doorstep, I know they can close the deal and bring those people back.
Awesome. So let's see. So now you are creating kind of this destination, not only for community members, but also for those of you out there listening or watching, like Arcola, get over there. They've got pretty much everything and they're building the rest.
Right.
Uh,
We have
yeah.
the largest downstate drive-through wildlife park, and they have a toy museum. So if you were an 80s kid like me, they
Uh,
have all the cool stuff we remember on display. So you can see that. They're getting into life-size sculptures of dinosaurs and prehistoric animals. So there's something there for everybody. But I like the toy exhibit because, who didn't have G.I. Joe and He-Man growing up in the 80s? So,
Oh, I remember He-Man. My brother had a He-Man. My Uh,
right.
anything else you'd like to share about Arcola? Maybe give a pitch what people can do if they come out and maybe
Sure.
make it a weekend.
I think it's great. We've got, like I said, the mixing the cultures. We have a nice food scene. We've got opportunities for families to come down and keep you busy for a couple of days. So if you're traveling from up north, we'd like to see you. We're proud of our community. You could see that in all the things that we do down here, and we're really proud to support our business community. They're really, our backbone. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Bill, for sharing all of that. I really think it's such a great strategy to kind of get these pieces in place. And, as we were talking, all of it just fits together, really, truly. It all just kind of weaves around each other, where you've got, your partnerships and then your businesses and making a place where people in your community want to come and patronize and see their neighbors running businesses. And then, everybody's got to go to the palace. I mean, who can say they've been to a broom palace before?
Absolutely. And it's open on the third floor, so you can go upstairs and you can see our entire downtown from, 45 feet in the air. It's a nice view. It's pretty fun. Um, we had 5,000 people there during our Broomcorn Festival the weekend after Labor Day. 5,000 people went through that front door and tested the building and all of its capacity. I'm sure if we had a fire marshal, we were probably in violation there at some point. So
But we won't tell anyone.
it's between you and I and our listeners today.
Everybody, don't anyone, no, nobody out there tell anybody now. So I am really, really glad that you joined us. It is great to spend some time with you and learn about your plans for 2026 and beyond. And thank you so much for joining us today on the Local Gov Stories podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Hello, local government leaders. I am so excited to be here with Courtney Clark, the owner of Revisionary Thinking, keynote speaker, author of 3 books, the newest book coming out, and it's the topic of our keynote at the upcoming winter conference, The Shortcut, How Strategic Adaptability Overcomes Grit. What does that mean?
It outperforms grit.
Oh,
So, yeah. So, here's what I have realized. I think that we have been over relying on grit, that, never give up, quitters never win. And it's making us less adaptable to change. Because if you think about it, if you're in that like really gritty mindset of, well, I'm sure if I just work harder, it's bound to pay off, then you might be missing clues that you actually need to pivot and do something different. And so I hired a research team and we spent a year doing research that shows that the most successful people know when to persevere and when to pivot.
it is such an important thing. And I always love research, but I love when it ties to real world experience and the person that I'm listening to has been there and gone through that. Have you ever faced times where you had to adapt, where you had to decide on grit and persistence and find a new way?
Heck yeah, Danny. It's what got me into doing this research. So I graduated from school, from college in New York City, and I was working in Lower Manhattan on September 11th.
Mm.
And we thought it was safe to come back to work, and it wasn't. And because of that, I was diagnosed with cancer, and then diagnosed with cancer again and again. And it's really easy in a situation like that to ask yourself, like, oh, why it's not fair, why did these things always happen to me? And you don't usually get an answer. I did get an answer because of my World Trade Center exposure. But what that led me to realize is that really all of us struggle to figure out, how do we stay successful when everything changes, right? And how can we change
Mm.
our plans and still reach our goals? So I became a researcher to figure out how to help people navigate all these obstacles and still reach what it is that they want in life.
And so as you do that, right, driven to help other people, it's one of the things that as I've gotten to know you, I just love how passionate you are about helping people and equipping people and giving them things to walk away with. How much has that helped you in your journey and what you've gone through?
I did it for me first. I love helping other people, but I am pouring from the cup that I had to fill for myself first, because I don't think I would be able to share this wisdom with people if I couldn't really live it first. But it was this realization about, how do we get perspective that got me out of my darkest times, both personally and professionally.
Mm.
Because let's be honest, we got obstacles in our personal life and obstacles in our professional life. And I was excited to find that the strategies are basically the same. It's
Mm.
really the same process of work that helps us navigate around these obstacles and find the best way through, whether it's work or whether it's your personal life. And the key is that it doesn't just arrive from mindset. There's so much talk about, like, having a positive mindset and your attitude, and those things matter. But what we're going to talk about in the keynote is, how do we balance that idea of like grit, resilience, just power through,
Mm.
with growth resilience, which is that adaptability, figuring out a new way to do things when the old way isn't working anymore.
Wow. I love, and I think the people, the local government leaders do as well. When you come and, hey, this is something that applies to work, but this is going to help me at home. Because it can become, there's so many challenges local government leaders face, right? The public scrutiny, the being misunderstood, the politics, the
Y'all wear a lot of
limited
hats.
budgets, right? And so getting equipped with tools like this, it is my understanding you've created a framework, actually, something that is easy for us to walk through.
Yes, that's really what the shortcut is. So, in the
Mm.
keynote, we're going to talk about why it's really important to be willing to let go of plans that aren't working out, deciding when it might be time to pivot versus persevere. But then I'm going to walk you through this 3-step plan that is the shortcut. It's how to, like, stop just banging your head against that brick wall that's not moving,
Mm.
and then bloop, just take that little detour that goes right around it. Because we might think the shortcut is like, but if I could just get through this. But you're wasting time, you're wasting resources. And so it might feel longer to go around, but it's actually going to be shorter. So that's what I'm going to show people, how to identify that and then how to take that path.
So to my fellow local government leaders, when you think about this conference, and the conference is stacked from beginning to end, but I think Courtney, and listening to her keynote, this topic that is so applicable to everybody, but especially and heightened by the work that we do, is something that I can't wait for. And so make your plans to stick around for this closing keynote to learn the shortcut. Courtney, you're amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming and sharing with our team.
Thanks, Danny. I can't wait to see you guys soon.
All right. Melanie, I told you, she's lightning in a bottle. Resilience, adaptability. I think all of us struggle. That's the common human experience. But her story is so powerful. I think it's so relatable. And then, I just can't wait to learn. We purposely didn't dive into like the action steps and the plan based on her research, right? Because you got to save something for the keynote. But I can't wait.
Yeah, and I really do love that it is backed with research. People can come out and just say, you need to do this and you need to do that. So, one, and her personal story is obviously very deep, right? The things that she
Mm.
went through. And I find that those experiences when you are just knocked down, they create amazing human beings. And I felt her energy like in your interview. I really did. So, all of you out there that like to leave early at the end of conference, you got to stick around for Courtney's closing keynotes because it's
Yeah,
going to be
you're
amazing.
missing out. You're cheating yourself if you don't. And then, something that like struck me with Bill when he talked about the toy museum and G.I. Joe and He-Man and I think about like the Thundercats and like those things those toys and things that you had when you were younger. So when he was talking about that, it brought back some really good memories. But that 3-point plan, being intentional, being focused, community based, supporting local business, all those different things he talked about. And, I think we're on the front foot with our Discover Dixon concept. It's a merger of Main Street, chamber, tourism, eventing, business. But I really like what they're doing, by bringing in small business development and the way they're doing that boot camp. And then
Yeah, I
they're
love
actually
that.
giving the grant or the 5,000 sponsorship. I mean, small businesses is the backbone. It's the foundation. It's the cornerstone of our communities, and the
Great.
diversification of business is so important. So great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing about it too, the statistics on small business are actually really staggering. Like
Mm,
50% close their doors within the first year. All
mm.
right. And then another 50%, 60% within 5. So if you're a small business ready to invest sometimes your life savings in this dream of yours, and to think, well, this community's got my back. Like they're here to actually help me invest in this and provide some resources and assistance. So, in addition to the dollars and cents of that, just kind of the feeling of having a community that says, "Come on in here. We're not only going to help you that way, but we're also going to make sure, like he said in his innovation, with making sure that his community is promoting business." To me, it's a win-win for everybody, right? Increased sales tax, a community that people want to visit and spend their money in. So I just loved his ideas, very forward thinking and very like deep into being of assistance and building community, like making sure that everybody feels they're a part of things.
You can tell how much he cares about Arcola, right? He grew up there. He's been there
Yeah.
20 plus years, fully invested. That was great. So Melanie, we have some things coming up, right? In the Illinois city manager world outside of conference.
We do. We have a couple events coming up. The first is, let me pull this up here. Da-da-da. Friday, January 23rd. It's the Metro Managers IAMA. It's called Sips and Tips. It's a coffee, 7:30 to 9. It's in Mount Prospect.
Mm.
And Friday, January 30th, this is an evening event, also IAMA, their annual night out. It is at Sluggers on Clark Street in Chicago. For those of you that want to venture to the city, from 7 to 10 p.m., you can find those at ilcma.org under events for the deets and registration. And then, of course, there is conference. At this moment, at this taping, we have over 200 attendees. There is endless room for more. I asked, is there a limit? And there is no limit. So if you
Mm.
haven't registered yet, get on the website and do that. Get your hotel room. And just a reminder for first-time attendees, for managers, assistant managers, or administrators, if you have never come to conference before, there's a waiver for your conference fee. So that's a little added incentive to get to conference and see your peers and share ideas and see some great keynotes and go to some great sessions. So we want to see
It
you.
The lineup's stacked. I'm really looking forward. It's going to be hard to pick between sessions. The keynotes are great. We're going to be interviewing people. We're going to be interacting with people. We're going to be figuring out like, hey, how can we take this to the next level? How can we make this podcast more valuable for the local government leader? So I cannot wait.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you at conference. So when you see Danny and I and a camera, You got to come over and say hi. And we're going to do what we've done in previous years. We'll do an interviews with bunches of people, and we'll do a recap for everybody. And we'll make people who don't go to conference jealous because it looks like so much fun. It'll be
So
great.
much fun.
It'll
So
be
much
great.
fun.
All
All
right.
right. Well, as we're on our way out, we're in the middle of the playoffs. I just want to say, go Bears.
Go
But
Bears.
but somebody said the other day, hey man, act like you've been there before. Well, I just cannot remember the last time we were there, so I
I
don't know
think
how to
it
do
was
that.
it the shuffling crew? Is that what it was?
The Super Bowl shuffle.
Oh my gosh, everybody needs to go to YouTube and play that. We might be
Yeah.
shuffling once again. We'll see.
Well, good luck to your team this weekend. Good luck in all the work you're doing, and just thank you for being on the front lines of local government.
We'll see you next time.